Giselle, before I ask the final question through the fishbowl, I'm going to flip the mic around and I would
Okay.
like to ask you whether you have a question for me as the podcast host.
I'm going to ask you a similar question to what you asked me. What does this podcast give you on a personal level? What makes it special for you?
Thank you for the question. What makes it special? I mean, I'm asked this question, but you framed it in a different way, something I appreciate. I think it gives me something to think about. Something to think about. I enjoy having conversations with people, and it gives me an experience, and hopefully this gives an experience to the guest. So it is special for me because I can express my creativity through communication.
Okay.
So I'm trying to challenge my own thoughts in ways behind the mic, behind the camera, and I'm trying to do it with each with each and every podcast episode. And I get a lot out of each and every conversation. So that's special to me. And I'm trying out a new concept, which is having a live audience with us. And I think that gives a different experience even to the listener. So we're having this conversation before.
Yes.
When you listen to podcasts, you have a certain type of experience. When you watch a podcast on YouTube or on Spotify, you have a different type of experience. But when you're actually listening to something live happening and you're there in person, it gives it something special. I mean, you can feel the room. You can feel the energy of the crowd. Mentioning crowdfunding. I'm trying to use the keywords here even for SEO purposes. I mean, it's something that you get a lot out of it. And having conversation, we've been podcasting for a year and a half now,
Okay.
or nearing 2 years. I feel that I grew a lot in my thought process, the way I view things, and it challenged me in ways that I would have never been challenged if I didn't enter this spectrum.
Excellent. I think yes, the live audience does give it a very nice twist because, for example, I obviously attend various events and seminars and whatnot, and I think when you're actually listening to somebody talking, it can spark ideas that perhaps wouldn't come if you're listening through a technical medium. You know, sometimes, as you said, when you're in the room, there's an energy. And again, this is where I typically have my notebook and I'll jot down an
Yes.
idea that would have sparked,
Yes.
you know, and I'll be like, you know, research whatever it is, for example, or, you know, look up a term or sort of learn about something. I mean, like recently I was seeing these animations and I thought those are really cool. I want to learn more about it.
Okay.
So, and yes, you know, that happened because
It's the community element to it.
It is.
That is also an objective of mine, to create a community, because I've said it in past podcasts, don't want to really repeat myself on it, but if someone is hearing this for the first time, I think there has been a lot about raising awareness in mental health, in the mental health spectrum. And I think now we're shifting to a era where we need to be a little bit more practical and we need to educate people on how to use our internal resources, and if we don't, how we can develop them in order to succeed in whatever we're doing. And success, it doesn't mean entrepreneurial, business, at work, career, but even having a family, having kids, the relationship with ourselves, how can we do it? So hopefully these conversations might spark someone, or we might say something that sparks something in someone that say, I can do that, or I for example, someone who might listen to this episode might say, I can start I can do a crowdfunding event for my photography hobby, for example. You can do it. There is the
Absolutely.
availability.
Yes.
So having an audience, a crowd, a community of like-minded individual people who really want to help themselves grow through other people, because I think that we can only help ourselves so much. We reach a glass ceiling at some point in time. But if we surround ourselves with the right people, a support system, we can elevate ourselves to higher lengths. And I think I want to give that space.
Yes.
I want to give the space to people who want to develop themselves, to discover themselves, and we can create a community out of it.
Yes.
So I think that's something which is missing locally, or we have. I'm not aware of. Let me say that. Let me say so. But to me, it feels that we're missing, and I think we should have this kind of space.
Yes, it's very true. And you're sort of providing the space and community, obviously, in a, I would say, more tangible setting.
Yes.
And I think on ZAR we provide it on an online setting. But yes, again, it's about creating community. And also, I mean, it's about having communities that can trust you, because, for example, in one thing that is super important for me as the person who runs ZAR is that our platform is transparent. You're accountable. It's legitimate. I mean, we're dealing with people's money here.
Yeah.
So we need to ensure that people know that it's trustworthy, that they're not just sending money to some random bank account and they don't actually know what's going to happen with it.
For sure.
So even you're creating a community of trust as well.